Timers say we love the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every motherfucker must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris,
I'm Russ.
and this is episode 282.
282, back in the virtual nerd basement. Thank you once again, everybody, for joining us tonight. It is a swelteringly hot night here in the Detroit area. 90 in the low 90s, but it was so humid it felt like it was 105.
Wow.
So,
I haven't even been outside today. Hey, Renee.
it was rough. Hey, Renee. Yes, it was fucking bad. My studio was, I was like cooking in my own juices. I'm not a super heavy sweater. And so when I do sweat, it's one of those like, God damn, I know it's hot when I'm sweating. When you feel that bead of sweat go down the small of your back into your butt crack.
Yeah, thanks for that visual.
You're welcome.
I need that.
You are welcome.
Yeah, I haven't been outside, so I've been in air conditioning all day. So
You know it's hot when I've got my hair pulled back.
yeah. Well,
Like-
tomorrow's only supposed to be like 79, so it's supposed to be nice tomorrow.
It's like 79, 80, 81, somewhere in there. It shouldn't be too bad. That's much more manageable.
But we are supposed to get rain tomorrow night, so we'll see how humid it is. I'm hoping it's not going to be too humid because I got golf tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow I'm going to see Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah, well, I'm going to see that Thursday, which you're coming to see.
Yes,
that
I'm
again,
also coming to that. I got free tickets at work, so I'm like, yeah, I got to see it on Wednesday, and then you're like, you want to go and see it on Thursday? And I'm like, I do. So it's
Just
from
zip it, zip.
I will. I will. Don't worry.
Zip
It'll be
it.
fine. It'll be fine. From all of the reviews I've heard so far, is that it is a laugh riot. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it does got some serious points and stuff in it because it is Gore the God Butcher, but they're saying fantastic. I did read a headline on an article. I didn't read the article itself. I think CNN says that Love and Thunder doesn't match the swing, the home run that Ragnarok set up for it.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever. But that's the only time I've heard anything even remotely negative.
Oh, hey, CD.
Hey, CD. Everybody, I mean, everything that I've read so far says it's a blast.
And then speaking of MCU movies and stuff, I actually saw a thing earlier saying, and I didn't see anything more than just a little clip of it, but it was saying that Guardians 3 is going to be a masterpiece.
Okay. I just met a guy today that worked on that film. It's pretty cool. He's going to be doing. I'm going to be doing some side work for this production company in Ferndale, and this guy also, he just came out. He worked on a bunch of the Marvel films, and he lives here in the area, but he goes down to Atlanta and works on a lot of the Marvel films and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
He's worked on like the last half dozen or something like that.
James Gunn is directing, Renee.
Yes, James Gunn is directing the third one, and they have said it is probably the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Well, they're all done.
Mm-hmm. I would be surprised if we see some of them come back for cameos or small roles in other movies later on, but they're done making Guardians movies.
Well, Batista's already said he's out.
Well, it is a lot of work, man. I mean, he's in all that makeup, and I'm surprised they haven't put him in a shirt at some point.
Oh, dude, CD, I totally understand if you want to go watch Neverending Story with the fam if they haven't ever seen it before.
Yeah, for real. I mean, come on. That's a classic.
Yeah. It's one of the movies that it's one of the movies that traumatized my whole generation.
Generation. Yeah. Generation X was traumatized by the Neverending Story on many levels. There's several of them. One being, of course, Artax, and we don't need to say anything more.
Well, that person that dressed up as Atreyu and had the Artax head and walked around Dragon Con.
God.
I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man. It's really fucked up. Holy shit. Yeah, I saw that costume. I'm like, it'll always be too soon.
Yeah, they said this person won Dragon Con. It just
It was fucked up.
It keeps my hair. Okay.
Cry at one of the 2 times. Then, of course, at the end, Bastion, please say my name. You're like, what the fuck? And then he's like, then he just shouts, opens up the window and shouts into the storm. And you're like, nobody can ever make out her name. And it's like, it's just even if you put the closed captioning on, the subtitles are like, it's unintelligible gibberish. And I was like, it's Princess blah blah blah. You're like, Empress from blah blah blah.
Oh no, Artax just died.
Oh no. Oh, poor kids.
Yeah, Renee says her generation was traumatized by the first Pokemon movie.
It's quiet. Is it quiet? Is it quiet or is it quiet, CD?
I think it's quiet.
Quiet in there.
So how was your week?
Well, we just had the 4th of July.
Yep.
Guys, we're not going to get political or anything this time. We did half the show as politics last time, so we're not going to get.
The last 2 times.
But I will say, I did not feel very inspired to celebrate the birth of the nation.
Dude, I've been looking at how to immigrate to Ireland. So.
Yeah, the weekend was nice. I guess Friday I worked for a bit, and then I did the body paint was the week before. I worked, and then we kind of got off work relatively early, and then I came home, and Stella had worked that day, which is kind of a quiet night. We actually watched Pirates of the Caribbean 5. I finally was like, hey, let's finish this off. And
I don't think I've seen 4 or 5.
Well, you could conceivably stop at 3. 4 was okay. 5 was also okay, but 5
is the Davy Jones one, right?
Yeah, 3 finishes off the first story arc with Davy Jones and with Will Turner becoming the new Davy Jones, and so they're kind of going off and having a bit of a tragic ending, and then 4 it has no Will Turner or Elizabeth Swann in it at all, and it's Johnny Depp's character. It's Jack Sparrow going up against Blackbeard, because Blackbeard is looking for the Fountain of Youth, and so
Taika Waititi's in it.
No, but that would have been awesome. The guy who played Mr. January in American Gods. I'm blanking on his name right now. He was on Deadwood. Anyway, he plays Blackbeard, and you'd know him if you saw him. And then it's basically Blackbeard and his daughter. They kind of kidnap Jack Sparrow to help him find it, and so he helps, whatever. And shenanigans happens. It's okay. It's not a terrible movie or anything. It was all right. It just wasn't quite as good as the other ones. And then the 5th one is a little bit about, you see a bit about Jack Sparrow's origin story, because they do some de-aging technology on Johnny Depp, and you see like Jack when he was like maybe 20. And so you see in a flashback, and these undead sailors.
Ian McShane,
thank you. He's in it. He does a great job as Blackbeard. He's really great. And then and Barbossa's in it again too, and stuff was great. And then again, you see it down on his luck, Jack Sparrow. He's having a real rough time. And he and on the contrary, Barbossa is doing extremely well. And he, like I said, there's these undead pirates that get released and that have a vengeance for Jack Sparrow, because Jack Sparrow was the reason why they died and were cursed. And so now they're coming for him, and they figure out that the only way to end all curses in the sea is to destroy the trident of Poseidon. That apparently the trident of Poseidon is the reservoir of all magical curses in the sea. And so if they can get that and destroy it, it'll free these, it'll reverse this curse of these sailors, these dead sailors. Like I said, they were pirate hunters.
Yeah, that's my thoughts exactly, CD. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, special effects were cool and everything. This was also the movie that apparently Johnny Depp pretty much was kind of hammered through the entire time, because he was dealing with shit with Amber Heard. So, and it kind of shows. I mean, his performance seemed a little.
How can you tell? I mean, Jack Sparrow always seems hammered. So
right, I know, but it's weird. You have to kind of watch it. You kind of got to see. It's like, I don't know, but I mean, it was entertaining, and you see like the son of Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann basically is also there to help. He's trying to help find the way to break his father's break the curse on his father, the Davy Jones curse. And I think largely it was just the fans were just wanted a happier ending for Will and Elizabeth. And so it was cute, it was cute. It was
life is pain.
Life is pain. Princess, anyone tells you different, they're selling you something. So, but and so we watched that, and then Saturday we went to Stella has to borrow a dress for the Canterbury Village Medieval Fair. So we went to a friend of ours to borrow a dress and try it on and stuff. And it was right over by where my parents live, so we stopped by my folks. My mother has shingles, which sucks, and
yeah, I've been hearing a lot about people getting shingles lately.
Yeah. So thankfully she's in some discomfort, but it's not as bad as it could be.
Yeah, Renee they think has shingles as well.
Really? She's way young to have shingles.
Uh-huh.
Yikes.
Yeah, and that means I'm exposed, so I'm kind of watching it. She's on antivirals now, so she should be good in like 24 hours. No longer contagious, but right. I'm keeping a sharp eye out because I'm actually highly susceptible to them, from what I've heard.
Okay.
We
all carry it.
Well, yeah, but I've had chickenpox and measles, which is supposed to make it more likely that I can get them. I've been meaning to go and get the shingles vaccine, because normally you can't get it till you're older, but because of me having both of them, I actually qualify for it now. So, okay. And my doctor suggested I get it. Kroger's actually been calling me saying, "Hey, we see that you're able to get it." So, it's basically like getting chickenpox a second time. It's like if you get chickenpox a second time, that's what it is. But
yeah, that's what. Yeah.
But yeah, and supposedly if you had measles too, then you're even more susceptible to it. But the doctor that Renee saw today said that I should not be getting it right now until they're sure that I don't have it.
All right. Yeah, go watch yourself, man. Apparently it's very painful and just a lot of discomfort. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then, and like I said, just kind of chilled Sunday. And Monday Stella worked, so I just kind of hung around the house. I played Miles Morales, Spider-Man on my PS5, and it's fun, so much fun, just like the other Spider-Man game, very fun. And we just kind of chilled for the 4th this year. I mean, we live very close to the Hazel Park fireworks, so we could definitely hear them. And I just felt so bad for Dresden. Dresden does not like fireworks. And then, of course, we got that rainstorm, that thunderstorm, like pretty much rolled in right after everything kind of calmed down. So just when Dresden's starting to calm down and there's no more fireworks, a big old fucking thunder crash just rattled the house, and I was using the support the dog. I was like, oh God, it's just like, again,
When was that?
right around 2 a.m.
Last night?
Mhm.
I didn't hear it at all over here.
Well, it hit us. It was loud, man. Loud. So,
Oh, Renee
it was
says we had
it
it.
was
I didn't hear it.
short and sweet. And you, what about your week?
It's 4th of July, so I spent the last 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. Yeah, 3 nights. And Monday, so 4 nights. In the basement with Trevor, our younger dog,
Right.
because he is deathly afraid of fireworks. Tried giving him a hemp treat, tried using his thunder shirt that he has. They all helped a little, but not much. What wound up helping the most was a friend of Renee's actually brought over a white noise machine that she wasn't using, and set that up in the basement. And so he only heard the really big booms. And so he actually at one point, this was Sunday night. He actually at one point got up and went over to the couch. I was sitting in my chair, and he went over to the couch and laid down, which he hadn't done the previous 2 nights. He was on me the whole night, the whole evening that I was sitting down there. And I'd be down there until midnight every night, because that's how long people around here were doing the fucking fireworks.
It was ridiculous, man. It was well past midnight. People were still shooting them off.
And that's the thing. Every once in a while, I'd still hear one, even after midnight. But I'm like, you motherfuckers, respect your fucking neighbors.
Right.
It's one thing, if you're going to set them off, fine, but do it within the time frames that are legal.
Yeah. Well, they've also talked about, like, I saw a meme basically talking about how truly destructive fireworks are to the environment and to the local the animal populace. I mean, we talk about how like fish are killed because of fireworks that either explode too close to the water and the shock concussions kill them, or they die from ingesting the ash that falls into the waters, because so many fireworks done over bodies of water, like birds that are affected by
birds panic.
Yeah, the concussions and the explosions are enough to really freak out birds. A lot of animals, like let alone the canines and felines that are really
more house pets go missing on 4th of July or on fireworks weekends, like 4th of July weekends when there's big fireworks, than at any other time of the year. Right. Because they panic and run. Squirrels, rabbits, any small animal does the same thing. Yep. Bees get disoriented during
bees too. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think it's
unnecessary.
It's unnecessary. It really is. So.
I think it's a waste of fucking money. Holy shit!
It is, and from what I understand, fireworks are 30% more expensive than they were last year. 30%.
Wow.
It's a lot. I also did go yesterday, Sunday. John and I went to Lowe's and I spent over $300 at Lowe's, and I was like, "What the fuck did I buy?" I'm like, "How did this happen?" And that's the thing about Lowe's and Home Depot. They are the one of the worst places for impulse buys. Like, oh, I need this. That'd be great. Oh, I could get this. That'd be cool. A Dremel. I need one of those. I need this, and give me that, and I need another hammer. I can't remember where I left my hammer. Things like that. No, we bought fencing to put around my AC unit, so my dogs don't pee on it.
Yep.
It's a thing. You got to do it. Otherwise, the urea builds up and the pee builds up on the filter and rusts it. And then you have to, that's the pizza.
I'll say Dresden's pissed about you putting the fencing up. He's complaining.
So we bought like these 3 metal gate, thick pieces to put around it, and we had to kind of dig it in and put it in, and then we bought some other shit that we needed and just some other stuff for fixing things up around the house. And
but yeah, other than that, it was work. We didn't have gaming this week, although we do this week.
Yes,
which I'm really looking forward to. Can't wait.
Me too. Gonna be a good time.
And then, but yeah, other than that, I went golfing on Saturday. Had a great time. Broke 100 for the first time ever.
Awesome.
So I shot a 96. Best score I've ever had on 18 holes. And had a good time, although I did take a pretty nasty fall on the golf course. They've got like little rope barricade, not really barricades. They're only like maybe a foot off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to step over one and my toe caught it, and it was enough to send me tumbling. Luckily, I was able to throw myself mostly onto the grass and not fall directly onto the broken up asphalt of the cart path that I was standing on. So I hit hard on my shoulder and arm and my hip, but I didn't actually cut myself anywhere.
Okay.
But I'm feeling it today. I am definitely sore. But yeah, other than that, it was a pretty quiet weekend. Played a lot of or played some more Horizon. Yeah, CD, that did sting quite a bit. Luckily, I didn't get road rash. That's what I was worried about, was getting road rash from the gravel. But yeah, Horizon, dude, Forbidden West, you gotta fucking play the game. It's so fucking cool. It is such a good fucking story.
Right. I think I'm gonna probably start it after Spider-Man, because I wanted to play a couple of games that I knew I wouldn't be like playing for months and months. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, which honest to God's a fantastic one-off, man. It is a really fun game. Really fun one-off game. I mean, you could go and play the new game plus after you play it or whatever, but it was entertaining for sure. I mean, it was a great game. I don't know if I'll ever play it again, but it was a great game. Same thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man Miles Morales. I might replay this one, but it's not a game that I'm gonna play it for months on end. I barely
played the other Spider-Man.
The other Spider-Man, both of them were really fun. I mean, like I loved them. So, I mean, this one has been really good. I'm about 40% through, and I just started it like Thursday or Friday. I mean, it's. I remember too that Miles Morales was, although it is a standalone game, it is a direct sequel to the previous Spider-Man game, and I believe it was offered at about $10 less. That it wasn't. You didn't buy. It wasn't retailing at $60. It was retailing at 50 to start. So, which means it's a little shorter game. It's not. It doesn't have quite the length of like some of the other ones do. Plus, Spider-Man had DLC for it as well.
Yeah,
this one does not. But it is essentially a a short sequel or long. They could have some really good DLC. But again, I'm not going to be playing this for like 3 months. I'm going to finish this one up probably sometime next week, or maybe even the end of this week if I get some serious gaming in, and then I'm going to move into something more longer term, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Forbidden West, or one of those other games, because I'm feeling something longer kind of term.
Forbidden West. Renee agrees. Forbidden West. So what are you drinking?
Oh, tonight I am revisiting Peach Party from Blake's. Another one of these things. This is really great. Peach and blackberry.
I don't think I've had that one.
It's a really good. It's good. It's good. I'm not a big peach guy, but the blackberry kind of balances it really well. Peach tends to be very, very sweet, and although I'm a big fan of sweet, I've just never been a big peach fan, and it's like I take it or leave it, And so the blackberry really kind of balances the sweet peach. So it's a newer flavor for this season. It's 6.5, so a little it's kind of, it's on the average for a cider, but again, higher than some other stuff out there. I like it a lot. It's good. Definitely, it's peach and love, man. It's one of their from our backyard kind of flavors. And you should check it out if you like, if you're not opposed to a kind of a sweet peach with a tart finish.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to. I like peach. I like blackberry. I've never had them together, so it'd be an interesting combo. I am drinking a beer that was left here at one of our gaming sessions, I believe. I don't know who brought it. It was Peter Rich. I know it wasn't you. It's called Stranger Than Fiction.
Man.
It's a porter. The label is interesting. It's mostly black with a little bit of like looking out of a port window of a spaceship at a guy out in space. You're not even looking.
Sorry. Oh yeah, it looks cool, man. That's pretty cool.
But it's really kind of understated. It's mostly just black. It is 5.5% ABV. Like any porter should be. It is dark.
Dude, that's like dark as night.
Yeah. It has, you get the roasted notes on the nose. This actually tells what hops were used. It's Cascade and Nugget, which surprises me because I've never seen those used in a porter before. Mostly because like Cascade is a citrusy hops. Nugget I couldn't identify off the top of my head, but I've heard of it. But I don't get a lot of that on the nose, which is good because it shouldn't on a porter. I'm gonna go ahead and take another sip here. It's a good porter. It's a little bit. It's very it's highly carbonated. So I get a lot of the CO2, a little bit more than I'm used to in porters and stouts. But it's good. It's a very solid porter. It's got a lot of the roasted notes without any of the hop overtones. I like it. It's actually pretty damn good. This is by the way, this is by Collective Arts, which is Art Brewing. They do all sorts. I've done some other Collective Arts before, and they do kind of unique cans. A lot of times they have like artists design their cans. But yeah, this one, I give this probably 3.5, 3.75.
High
It's
praise.
good it's good if you like if you like a porter. Although it is giving me like giving me hiccups and burps. I think that's the high carbonation of it that might be doing that to me. So
Okay.
Let's see. I'm drinking peanut butter flavored milk stout from Belching Beaver. Belching Beaver, that's an interesting name for a brewery. It's good stout, but last on my PB list. Okay. Yeah, I haven't actually had many peanut butter stouts that I've really, really cared for. My buddy actually made one that was pretty good. But it's got a beaver with a beer on it. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So Stranger Than Fiction Porter and Peach Party. Both good.
Awesome.
If you get the
good
chance,
stuff.
check them out.
Check them out, guys.
All right. Let's start talking nerdy shit.
Nerdy shit. So let's start with the thing that many of us have been anticipating the most for quite a while. Thor Love and Thunder, this coming opening this weekend.
Yes.
You and I are seeing it on Thursday. I'm going to see it on Wednesday. You and I are seeing it on Thursday.
Yeah, so we'll be able to talk about it on Tuesday. Look for Instagram posts. We might actually get back to doing Instagram. So Russ and I may have some pictures of us actually at the theater together.
Right.
Not in costume.
No, not at all. I will have Chris has issued a gag order on me, so I won't be able to. I'll be probably showing up with duct tape around my mouth because I'll be like, "Oh, dude, no, you gotta wait. I can't wait. It's gonna be checkout."
I didn't think about it. What I should have done is just bought tickets for Renee and I here and one for you way the hell over there.
Not funny, man. It's getting. I'm just found a solid review here. That gives it a pretty good review from. This is from, of course, Games Radar, or the film, Total Film on Games Radar. Thor Love and Thunder review, unashamedly absurd and wildly entertaining. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read a few snippets here. No character in the MCU has undergone a more effective glow up than Thor Odin's son from the Drabnet era of the Dark World to Ragnarok's cosmic romp. The God of Thunder found his groove when irreverent Kiwi Taika Waititi unlocked Chris Hemsworth's criminally untapped comic chops. They're saying it's wilder, funnier, and significantly more heartfelt. Marvel has been coasting on a comfortably unexceptional level of quality for much of Phase 4. The joyous Love and Thunder is a return to the glory days of the Infinity Saga. It goes into details about the movie. Blah, blah, blah. Mighty Thor, after being deemed worthy of a reformed Mjolnir. There's no type of dramatic. They're saying Love and Thunder gives Love and Thunder the flavor of a rom-com in much the same way that Multiverse of Madness dabbled in horror. So it feels like it's probably going to have a little bit of rom-com feel because of Thor and Jane Foster, but probably just kind of a flavor, kind of like the way Multiverse of Madness had a slight taste of horror.
Oh, dude, that was the other thing that we did this weekend. Renee and I actually watched Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness because she hadn't seen it yet.
Oh wow, but you had?
Yeah, I had. I saw it at the theater. Right.
Yeah. What'd you think? What did she think?
She liked it. She agreed though that it was probably the most horror movie of the MCU.
Very much so.
Yeah, she just said, "Oh, it was good."
Yeah, I loved it personally. It says racing along at a relative clip, an increasingly rarity in a sea of bloated.
Perfect director for that movie.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. An increasing rarity in a sea of bloated superhero spectacles and miniseries. Love and Thunder takes Thor, Jane, and Valkyrie to the omnipotent city of gods we've seen in the trailer. But the screen legend in similar fashion to Jeff Goldblum's Grandmaster in Ragnarok. So we do get to see Russell Crowe as a hysterically funny Zeus. And unexpectedly chucklesome is Christian Bale's Gore. Apparently they're saying that he's frightening, but also funny at the same time. Like he is scary and creepy and whatnot, but also spookily entertaining. So it should be
scary
cool.
Funny.
Yeah, scary funny. If we're picking nits, Valkyrie feels like a third wheel here, a fifth if you count Sentient X Stormbreaker, which can't contain its jealousy. With Mjolnir back on the scene, I can't wait for that. That'll be hilarious. Thor and Jane's relationship is also.
Sentient?
No, I don't think so, but probably.
like since when?
Since when, right? Thor and Jane's relationship is also awkwardly backloaded in a way that feels like you're almost not getting enough time with the two of them together until the film's almost over. The drab, it's a hit of the it's like and what's Waititi's proven MO, and once again the filmmaker has put his unmistakable stamp on a Marvel project, bending the MCU house style in a way that even a filmmaker as seasoned and distinctive as Sam Raimi struggled to do. There's an infectious desire to put a smile on every audience member's face. Here, tried to resist the exceptional deployment of 3 Guns N' Roses bangers. That means even the film's most obvious shortcomings barely register as it careens in carefree fashion from one terrifically entertaining sequence to the next, including a late showstopper involving a group of young actors, which ranks among the most overwhelmingly gleeful sequences Marvel has committed to the screen. After 4 solo movies, the first Avenger to reach the milestone, it's clear there's still plenty of charge left in the God of Thunder. Whether there's a 5th remains to be seen, but on the basis of Love and Thunder, Waititi and his mighty Thors are more than worthy of another outing. They have said, and Kevin Feige has said that Hemsworth himself has said that it's more than likely we'll see some more of Thor out of him.
I've heard Hemsworth say that he will play Thor until they don't want him to play Thor.
Right. Yeah. Fucking blast. He's, he did also say that he got into the best shape he's ever been in for this movie. Like, he's in better shape now than he was in any of the other previous movies. He's bigger. He's like holy shit.
Yeah, I heard Evans when him and Hemsworth were talking at one point. I saw an interview. This was back after like the second Captain America movie, I think, and the second Thor movie, and they were talking, and he's like, "I just want a fucking cheeseburger."
Yeah. I read somewhere that the first time he had a cheeseburger after he got done filming and everything, he could kind of relax. He cried. He wept. And I can dig it, man. I mean, I'm as somebody who is now gonna, has been informed that he should probably kind of watch his carbs a bit. I guess all my numbers, I just went to the doctor recently, and all my numbers came back very good for a man my age and in my general physical well-being. I'm doing pretty good. My triglycerides are high. Mm-hmm. Which, for those of you who guys don't know, it doesn't mean I got to watch my fat intake. I actually got to watch my carb intake, because I'm eating a lot of carbs that are then turning into fat. That is not, although I'm not a fat guy, it's still not the best. My number is a bit high for my triglycerides. So I got to try and cut back on the carbs and watch my diet a little bit.
Deep fried can affect that too.
What's that?
Deep fried can affect the
yes. Yeah, actually, they did state that deep fried foods, which I don't tend to eat a lot of deep fried foods.
I do,
but still,
I'm a French fries guy, man. I'm all Italian. Give me all the potatoes in every form.
I get it. I love fries too. I totally get it. But I'd say fries are probably the only regular deep fried thing.
I actually had tater tots for lunch today. They were like, I made like loaded tater tots. It was nice. tater tots with sour cream, cheddar cheese, and bacon bits. Nice.
Fucking A. I had and you said you're Italian when you meant Irish.
Oh yeah, Irish, yeah.
Sorry. Looking at me.
Thinking about you. You're Italian.
I'm Italian. But yeah.
You're Italian.
I'm yes. Cafeteria berries. Taters. I had French fries and some deep fried chicken strips today for lunch. So
yeah, that's good for your triglycerides right there.
Really good, really good. I don't have it every day, maybe once a week.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't. One of the worst things you can do is completely cut something that you enjoy out of your life.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it makes you crave it more, and right. It makes you binge on it.
One of the advantages is I'm not a big drinker, even though we are, doing this. I'm not a big drinker. So the fact that I don't drink a lot of alcohol, that's a lot of empty calories I don't really do. Mm-hmm. And but what I do have to cut back on is try and cut down on the soda pop. Because I drink a lot of Pepsi.
Pop is just as bad as beer.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. The problem is any other alternatives that I would rather have, or if I'm going to not have soda, are not that far off. Like I drink Gatorade. Well, Gatorade's a lot of sugar too. Maybe not quite as much, but the only advantage that Gatorade doesn't have is it doesn't have all the acid, so it's not fucking up my teeth. But yeah, so I gotta figure out, like, people are like, well, get like the Mios and drink water and put Mio in it. I'm like, well,
I hate fucking Mios, man.
I've tried that, but it's not the same.
I would rather drink water, because the Mios have that fake sugar taste in them.
Yes, yeah, but you can also get Mio with caffeine in it, and I need the caffeine. So
drink coffee.
If I'm not gonna drink soda, I hate coffee, man. I fucking hate coffee. I hate tea. I don't want to drink hot fucking beverages, and during when it's hot. And honestly, the cold ones aren't any don't appeal to me either. I mean,
Yeah, you're right, CD. Sugar and carbs are evil.
they really are. They really are. But it's such a deliciously glorious evil.
Yeah, we got sidetracked.
We did. We got sidetracked. Anyway, Thor, guys, we'll do a preliminary.
And we'll do
next
a
week.
no spoiler review.
No
next
spoiler
week.
review. But I'm sure we're both going to enjoy it a great deal. And and then we'll do a real review like maybe in 2 weeks afterwards, so that you guys have time to see it. It is your last Marvel movie until November, when Wakanda Forever comes out. And but we will have She-Hulk in a few weeks after Ms. Marvel is
August
done.
17th, I think, or something like that.
And they're already talking about they're already I think it was Entertainment Weekly just did a big story on it, and they're saying that this show is that She-Hulk is gonna hit differently than any of the other shows. It's gonna be a legal comedy, and it's gonna be very different from most of the other Marvel shows.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of that, Ms. Marvel, you and I are both caught up on Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, we can talk about the latest episode if you want. It's called Seeing Red. I've truly enjoyed the show for what it's done, for the way that it's portrayed things, and the pacing I think has been really good until this episode.
Okay.
I thought this episode was the worst of all of the episodes.
Really?
I think they tried to pack too much into one episode.
Okay.
And I think that it suffered for it.
I can't completely disagree. I think if anything, it probably did suffer a bit from being a little packed, packed with full of stuff.
Yeah, I think they tried to pack too much. They wanted to get the action sequence in there, that chase scene.
Yeah.
And that took up a big chunk, so they rushed everything else. So, I mean, the whole thing with her meeting the Red Daggers. So basically, she's in Karachi now.
Karachi. Now, it seemed to me, I'm not for certain, but I would say it's entirely likely that they went on location to Karachi to film a lot of those exterior scenes, because it's going to be hard to fake Karachi in Atlanta or in Georgia, because that's where almost all these shows are filmed. Most of the movies, everything is filmed in Georgia and in the Atlanta area, from what I understand. Marvel Studios has shot so much shit in Georgia. And in fact, the guy I met earlier today, who just got off working on Guardians 3, was like, yeah, he's like, I live here, but I go down to Georgia for the work. And so it's pretty fucking cool. But I'm guessing, yeah, I'd be fairly certain that they spent some money. I mean, this is a Disney film. This is a Marvel fucking film.
Yeah.
They got money. So they went to fucking Karachi, and they or at least some city in India or in Pakistan. Probably in Pakistan.
So the thing is, so the thing that gets me is, so she's in Karachi, she's looking around, and this guy like attacks her. This Red Dagger attacks her.
Yeah.
Because he senses the newer magic.
Her energy, essentially.
Yeah. And then they get into this fight, which is it's a fun fight. And then they become friends. And he takes her to the secret hideout of the Red Daggers, introduces her to like his mentor, and they just reveal all this stuff all of a sudden, boom, just out of the blue. Oh, well, we don't know who you are, but we're just going to give you all this info and trust you now. And they're like enemies of the Jinn and the what are they? Fuck, I'm blanking on their name.
Oh, the clandestine.
The clandestine, yes. So they're enemies of them, and they show how, there's this wall between the dimensions. Here's how our worlds overlap, and here's what happens if they open up the door, then it's just gonna bleed through, and no more, our world will cease to exist, and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start training her. She starts training with them, and then suddenly the Jinn just invade this
Well, it showed them escape from custody from damage control.
Yes, yeah, it shows them escape from custody of damage control, leave what's his name behind because he chose his side.
The kid, yeah.
And it shows really what a bitch mom is.
Right. Now I get it. I mean, I understand, like, just like a lot of Marvel villains, a lot of villains in the MCU, they very much seem to try to make the villains relatable. You know, almost all of them have been on some level. Even Thanos was relatable.
But she's really not.
Well, she wants to go home. They've been trapped on Earth for 100 years or whatever or longer, and she really wants to go home. She's desperate to go home. I can understand the idea of wanting to go home, but to essentially, you know, destroy Earth or whatever, or destroy our world to supplant their world on it, yeah, that ain't cool, man.
Yeah, well, and one of the things they also do in this is that they try and differentiate that these jinn are not the jinn of legend and religious texts.
Correct.
Because the Quran even talks about jinn.
Right.
And from what I was reading, that's actually something in that the jinn are something in Muslim beliefs.
Right.
And that even like you've heard it mentioned earlier in the show, like was it Zazu, the thing that the one kid creates for the dad, that's like Alexa. And he actually says something about it, that it's got jinns in it because it's not working right. They talk about the jinn like they're gremlins type of thing. But anyway, back to this episode. I thought that the pacing was poor in this one. I thought it was too much, too fast, and that they rushed a lot of it just to get it in there.
I would say that's somewhat accurate. I'd say that, I mean, it was if they had maybe did a longer episode and kind of stretched it a little bit, it would probably feel a little. It would have felt.
I would have liked to have seen them stretch it out to where she's actually connecting with her roots there, because this is her first time in Karachi,
right,
where her family's from, and the stuff with her mom and why her mom left, and I want to see more of that. I want to see more of the family drama that we've gotten in the other episodes.
Yeah, exactly. That's my interest as well. I want to be able to. I'd like to see them, touch on that kind of stuff a little bit more.
And I mean, one of the things that's fascinating me about this show is seeing more of the culture, and we didn't really get that so much in this one. It was just action, 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 and action for action's sake, almost.
Correct. Personally, I mean, it is one of the things that I've really very much enjoyed about this show is the cultural stuff, and I think it's really, really cool.
It's a culture I don't know anything about, so I'm enjoying learning about it because there's some cool shit.
Yeah, for real. I'm not going to say it was a bad episode. I don't think it was bad, but I'd say I agree with you. It was probably the weakest of the four so far.
Well, I'm curious to see what they're going to do now, because at the end she winds up, the leader of the jinn goes to attack her, and she holds the bracer up, and it hits it, and there's a flash, and she winds up on train tracks, and it appears back at the perdition.
Right. Now that's interesting. That was an interesting twist. Yeah. Like, I mean, did she time travel? Is this a vision? It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds tomorrow.
Yeah. So I am interested in seeing how the next two episodes go, because we only have 2 left.
Right. There's 2 left, and then we have like a week or 2, and then we get into She-Hulk.
We got a month. We'll have a month.
About a month.
Yeah,
and
3
then
3 to 4 weeks.
And then we get into She-Hulk. So I am very much excited.
I think I'm more episodes of She-Hulk because it's a half-hour show.
Yeah, it's I hear the shows, well, they're gonna range less than 45 minutes, but usually more than a half an hour. So from what I understand. They have also stated that there were several there's a bunch of VFX people have talked about, have responded to the complaints and the criticisms about the special effects of She-Hulk, and about how in the initial trailer that was seen mostly on YouTube, that it was compressed to be put on YouTube, and that when people watched the trailer on Disney Plus, it ended up looking a lot better. That a lot of it was a lot better. Plus, and they also said that the reason why the Hulk looked better or looked more realistic or whatever was the fact that the Hulk had stubble and wrinkles and things like that they're able to use to camouflage some of the things to make the face look more realistic. A woman's face is meant to be smoother and more, you don't want to accentuate wrinkles and bags and things like that. So and it made it a lot harder. So, but they have said that they've been working on tweaking the special effects even more. I think that our digitally created She-Hulk will end up looking really great in the long run. They've also hinted several things that Jason Segel will be showing up in several episodes of the show. Jason Segel, of course, was from How I Met Your Mother and many other kind of projects. He's Marshall. Some people have actually surmised and guessed that he could be playing Ben Grimm. Now, people have said, is it Ben Grimm before what turns him into the thing, or is it Ben Grimm after? So a lot of people, like, who knows what we're going to see, but because there have been theories that they're going to introduce the FF slowly in other projects until they finally bring them together in the FF movie,
like stunt casting in Doctor Strange.
Yep. Exactly. So anyway, tomorrow, episode 5 of Ms. Marvel, guys, check it out. It is still a solid show, and I'd say easily one of the better shows that we've seen out of them. It is also probably the best, and one of the best examples, if not the only example, of Indian/Pakistani culture represented on television these days, and it's pretty cool. Indian/Pakistani American culture.
Well, really, it's Pakistani, because they talk about, that's one of the things her grandmother talks about, is that she's from Pakistan, but her roots are in India.
Mm-hmm.
And they also make a comment about the way that the division was done and the partition was done was a bunch of white folks panicking as they ran out of the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or as they ran away. And I'm like, that's probably a great way of explaining what happened.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I from what I understand, that sounds pretty accurate, actually. So,
but speaking of superheroes, and to get away from the family drama and family friendly atmosphere of Ms. Marvel, let's go over to The Boys.
Oh man.
Something that is definitely not family friendly.
Right.
Wow. So I caught up with The Boys over the weekend. And so I watched the last 2 episodes, which started off with Herogasm. Episode 4.
Right.
Which, holy shit. I love that they're putting like warnings at the beginning of like the episodes. And like this one was like, everything was consensual, and there's tons of special effects were used and blah blah blah. For those that don't know, Herogasm is a super powered orgy.
Correct.
Happens once a year.
Yeah. In the comic books, it's a little bit different. Like in the comic books, they basically, the superheroes fake like an alien invasion or something, and then they make a public address to the people saying, hey, we've got to go and fight this alien invasion. We're going to be gone for about 2 weeks, and we guess about 2 weeks. And we hope we can make it back. We hope where everybody survives and everything, but this is where we'll be for like 2 weeks. And all of the superheroes go to a resort and fuck each other's brains out for 2 weeks or whatever. And so all the heroes, all the superhumans, the heroes, probably some of the quote unquote villains. I mean, like a general amnesty is kind of declared on any kinds of like grudges or anything, and they just fuck each other's brains out, everything. And it's funny, I remember in the episode, in the comic, there's them going like, just reading it and being like, what the actual fuck, This show, and in the show, they've obviously made some changes, some adjustments, and yes, that the Herogasm is a yearly party that was actually started by Soldier Boy, and it was continued on in the tradition, and
by the Dynamite Twins.
And so when we were watching this, I was watching this, and I'm just like, it blew my mind because it's exactly how I thought it would be. There's all kinds of naked. I mean, there's obviously all kinds of naked, and they're all using their powers in spectacularly sexual ways. In fact, Love Sausage meets them at the door, meets Starlight and MM at the door. Now, and that's the other thing too. Several of the different characters have come together at the same time. I mean, the Deep shows up at one point earlier, and he's at the party, and that's another fucked up situation. And then Huey shows up to case the party, and of course he teleports in naked.
Yeah.
That was appropriate.
And Butcher's outside waiting for him to case the place.
Right. Because that's the thing. Soldier Boy, they freed him in the previous episodes. And his thing is that he wants to hunt down his team and find out what the fuck happened and why, and
kill him for selling him out to the Reds.
To the Reds, right. And because Soldier Boy is true blue American. And I love how we keep finding out more and more about him, and about just like how seedy and underhanded and the horrible shit. Honestly, Paul Reiser as the Legend is chef's kiss perfect. I mean, it's so fucking funny.
Him in this and Stranger Things, which we'll talk about later.
It's getting a lot of work.
He has been fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, no, really great. Particularly for an actor we didn't see much of for quite a while. And now all of a sudden he's everywhere. But anyway, so and in the previous episode we did meet the Legend. He's essentially Stan Lee. He's supposed to be the guy that promoted and created and made the superheroes into celebrities, and then retired with shit tons of money. And he's supposed to be, and in the comic books, he is essentially a twisted, crotchety, horrible version of Stan Lee. And in this, he's more like a mixture of a Stan Lee and a Hollywood agent. And he's always dropping names. He's like, this bed has seen 2 Cheryls, Teagues, and, whatever. And you're and just dropping all these names of these celebrities in the 80s and early 90s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And so it's just really fucking funny. But so, finally, so that's the thing, like Starlight and MM show up at the party trying to stop, like trying to warn them before Homelander gets there, because Homelander's on his way there too eventually.
Well,
because he sent the Deep.
They're trying to stop Soldier Boy, but also that they know that as soon as Soldier Boy shows up, Homelander's going to come.
Exactly, and they know it's going to cause death and destruction.
But because of what Soldier Boy's been doing, which is basically nuking every place that he goes.
Yeah. And so he does show up. And like I said, there's all kinds of this sexual shit happening. The Dynamite Twins are a completely toxic mess. And of course,
TNT
MM
Twins or something like
that. The TNT Twins or something, yeah. And of course, MM and Starlight are met at the door by Love Sausage, the Russian superhuman or soup that has a immense tentacle-like penis
who he reaches out and like rubs up against MM's jacket, and he's like talking about like, man, what do you get on my jacket?
Oh man, and speaking of poor boy, I tell
yeah,
you, you know,
and he's looking for something to wipe off his jacket because somebody
Right.
else that rubs up against him is just covered in like stuff.
yeah,
And
fluid, some sort
fluids.
of fluid.
And he's like, man, I need a towel or something. And he opens up this door and just gets fucking blasted.
Yeah, obviously cum, and he's just covered in like somebody took a 5-gallon bucket and just threw it at him. Could you imagine?
I think it was shot out of a gun. I mean,
probably because yeah, you're right, because it wasn't like it wasn't like it was tossed, because you toss liquid. There's a shot. And you know, I feel bad for the actor. I feel bad for the special effects crew, because you got to know they go, oh my god, we just glazed this guy like a donut.
Well, can you imagine being that actor and knowing what's going to happen when you open that door?
Yeah, thankfully we know it wasn't what it was. You know what it was supposed to be. It was probably some sort of, frosting mixture. It probably was a lot of sugar and gelatin and
Caro syrup,
whatever, Caro syrup, and and trying to come up with that mixture. Could you imagine? It's hard enough. No, this isn't thick enough, guys. No, this needs to be. This needs to be more stringy. We need it to be. It's like if you pull at it, you gotta. I mean, they're like there's some lubes out there that are made to look like cum. They make things like that, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And the fact that I know this shit is more information for the audiences about my production. But it's just like I do come from some special effects background too, so. I mean, I've had to develop blood. I've had to mix blood together and fake blood together several times over the years. And so doing that, I'm like, I know what they had to go through to make, like, honestly, if you watch Zach and Miri make a porno, and there's the scene where the guy who used to play Randall, or played Randall in the Clerks movies, where he gets frosted like a cake.
And they drop like a fucking cake.
And they basically drop shit on him, right? And they had to come up with a recipe for that. They had to come up with something that looked like poop, And I remember them talking about it, and the mixture and the various different things that they put in it to make it look. And so I can only imagine what they did. I like, do we want it to look like royal icing? Now, do we want, does it have a lot of sugar? Do we do this? I mean, what can we do to put it in it to make it really gloppy? And so the poor is like, I need a bathroom. No, because he's got terrible OCD,
Yep.
Which is interesting that they've added that into the character. His obsessive compulsive disorder is something I can't remember. I don't think it's a thing in the comic book. I think it might be a little thing. I don't think it's as major as they've made it out. But I do also like how they've affected, like how he's dealing with his ex-wife and his daughter and the husband who's
and her new husband who is a Homelander.
It's the equivalent of your wife married a Trump supporter, essentially. Yeah. Your ex-wife and your kid is being raised by a conservative and you're not, and now you got to deal with this. You got to try not to punch the motherfucker, and even when he says something really shitty. So,
although he doesn't resist in this one.
No, he doesn't.
Or the
next one. Yeah. One. But anyway, so yeah, and then Homelander and then we get Soldier Boy does finally go fuck it and goes into the party, and he starts and he fucks up the TNT twins, and because he's like, and they're like, it was Black Noir, it was all Black Noir's idea, and then he's like, bullshit, and then he basically cacks them, and a whole lot of others, and a whole lot of other people, because he again has a PTSD moment and goes nuclear, and just fucking kills a whole bunch of people. And then at the same time, or right after, then I think it's right after, then Homelander does arrive, and Huey
Huey grabs Starlight,
yeah,
and teleports out. So now they're both naked,
right? And essentially, torpedoes his relationship with her, because he cannot deal with, he thought he could. He thought he was enlightened enough, but he cannot deal with the fact that his girlfriend is the strong one and is the superhero, you know, which I feel bad. I feel bad for her and I feel bad for him because I liked what they were building, and in the comics they're together. And it was sad. I was like, oh man, I thought you were better than that, man. I thought you were Huey, I thought you were better than that, you know. It's
but now
okay
he's
that she
addicted
can
to Temp V, so
right. And then and we do later find out that Temp V is very dangerous and is probably killing them. My guess is moving into the next episode. We do find like Kimiko.
yeah.
She ends up asking Starlight to get her some compound V, the blue stuff.
The perm stuff.
Because she wants her powers back. And they explain it later on. She reads, like, she shows her a thing on her phone and saying, I knew you'd say that, and here I wrote this, and it convinces her to do it. And later on we see Frenchie reads it, and it's basically Kimiko saying, it's my choice.
Yeah.
This time it's my choice, and I want it so that I can protect the people I care about. And
the shit we learned about Frenchie too.
Oh man. Yeah, over the 2 episodes, because that's the thing that we didn't talk about in the Herogasm episode is that Frenchie and Kimiko get kidnapped by those Russian mobsters and are being fucking fucked up, and Kimiko is able to get away, and she's able to like kill the dude.
They put Kimiko and what's her name?
His other former girlfriend.
His former girlfriend in chairs, and they've got a gun to both their heads, and they're like, you choose. Yeah. One dies, one lives.
And he can't. He's like, I
can't. They're like, all right, then we're gonna kill them both.
Yeah. And then Kimiko, she's able to save herself and Frenchie, honestly. And it was brutal. She was already fucked up.
Yeah.
From when she got hurt. So, and we also learned, she did lose her powers because of Soldier Boy. Apparently Soldier Boy's blast is able to burn out a lot of just burns the compound V out of people's systems. And they did find out in the following episode that several people died, and even the ones that survived didn't have their powers anymore. And that's fucked up. I mean, that's got to be rough to have to go from having superpowers to then having them taken away from you like that in that situation. But it was also too at the end of Herogasm, it was enough for that. It was like that was enough for Starlight to finally just say, "Fuck it, I quit."
Oh, and she just blew it.
Big social media.
She went out scorched earth.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, enough to the point where in the following episode they're calling her a traitor. They're saying like she's, like that she's compromised. That they're calling her. They're saying that she's the one that's involved in human trafficking, and trying to spin it so that she looks awful.
Her charity is actually, the home for teenage girls and stuff is actually for human trafficking, and
it's fucked up. And but then I did like how she turned it around on Highlander at the end of the second, or the latest episode, and she caught him basically recorded him on Instagram, basically saying some real awful shit. So outed him as being a real monster.
Yep.
So, I'm sure somebody's going to be able to spin that somehow, but it's going to be hard.
Vaughn always can.
Lose some support.
Vaughn always does.
He's still going to lose.
They got their own Fox News network, so they do. The Vaught News Network.
They're still going to lose some support, though. I mean, he's going to lose some support for that. We see some other fucked up shit. We also we learned a lot about Butcher in the most recent episode, about his upbringing, about the horrible, because he came from abuse. He came from serious abuse, and that his brother ended up ending his own life because of the abuse that he was suffering after Butcher left.
Yeah.
And that was messed up because searching out his younger brother, searching out another member of Payback, who was this mind mind freak or whatever this guy.
Yeah.
And he basically, one of the attacks he does is he puts you in a coma and makes you relive like a horrible moment, like over and over again. But Huey was able to get him away from Soldier Boy before he was able to kill him to release Butcher.
Mm-hmm.
And Huey's like, look, I'll teleport you away. I'll help you. And then so he releases Butcher, but like I said, we got to really see, like, holy shit, why Butcher is the way he is.
Yeah. Well, and then we see more, like, the Deep's marriage is done. And
oh my God.
mean, dude, I can't look at Octopus the same way anymore.
Never again.
No.
Never again.
That was some rough shit.
Could you imagine the digital effect of what they had to do to, because or what he had to probably do, just lie there with like this like green towel over his lap, and they digitally put in a
well, and like the whole thing with like when he's standing there
mollusk.
talking with her, and every once in a while a tentacle comes up and he's like,
yeah. Like, stop. And referring to the, and first of all, she's a mollusk and she can hear you. You know what I mean? And God's blessed the wife for like, maybe all right, we'll give this a shot. And then the tentacle tries, she wants to taste you. And she's, oh no, I can't do it. That's some funny shit, man. That was some funny shit.
Well, she was an evil bitch too.
Well, she was ultimately just using him as a platform to get to that next level. She was. They were using each other, honestly. I mean, I think she might have cared about him, but I think she learned that Kevin's an idiot. I mean, the Deep is a fucking idiot. He really is. He's not near as smart as he thinks he is, and if it wasn't for her kind of keeping an eye out for him, and they were probably a pretty good team. It seemed like to me they were a pretty good team. She was the brains behind the operation, and he was the actor that was selling it. And he's
the Deep is not deep.
No, he's not. He's not. Yeah. And I think we're going to see him.
Puddle.
I think he's going to flail. I think he's going to fucking like flail without her. And but it's just so funny, like, to see his, like, he's got these sexual predilections. He's turned on by undersea creatures, and it's just like,
well, and they put him in charge of the security for Vought, and he basically fired everyone because they weren't loyal.
Yeah.
So he's trying to run the machine, and yeah, it's just awful. It's that whole thing. It's such a shit show, and I'm like, oh my God. And Homelander is just such a fucking evil prick.
He's a monster. And they've said several times that he is like the ultimate extension of like the idea of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And because he is. He really is. And it's interesting to see how they're taking it, the direction that they're taking it. And it boggles my mind, really.
Well, then then in the last episode, we get the big reveal, which to me wasn't that big of a surprise.
Yeah.
In that we find out that supposedly Soldier Boy is Homelander's bio dad.
Right. That day, because I jerked it off in a cup, and because they wanted to do some testing, and it looks like you're the result. And you're like, ooh. Because we did see in the Herogasm episode Butcher all amped up on Temp V, and Soldier Boy pretty much get up, get the better of Homelander. In fact, they blackened his eye, because there's a point in the latest episode where he goes to see Maeve, who's like in rehab. And he threatens, he goes, I'm going to harvest your eggs, and I will make a child, and all these other things. He goes, I would never, disrespect you as to force myself on you. I'm going to harvest your eggs. It's just like, oh God. And, but she's like, looking at it, like, is that concealer?
Yeah.
She noticed it. She saw that his eye, they blackened his eye. And, That's something, man. That's saying something. You know, that
Yeah, I think
probably
I think
never
that's the
happened.
case, CD. I think
What?
Maeve's gonna kill herself.
Oh yes, I think so too. I think she'll kill herself because he said at one point, he goes, "I'm not letting you live. I'm keeping you alive." And you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh fuck, man." Like I said, in the previous season, it looked like more and more they were trying to make him at least mildly. They tried to make you understand Homelander a little bit more as to why he is the way he is. But then this season, they're making it there's no coming back from this.
Yeah.
He is an evil to the core character. There's like he is not, it's not just that he's misunderstood or that he's just a plain narcissist. No, he's a sociopathic narcissist. So it's he's fucked up. And well,
and then we also had the whole thing, and this is, I mean, there's so much that goes on, that's going on in each episode, and it doesn't seem like they're trying to jam it all in like what we were talking about with Ms. Marvel. It actually flows, but there's the whole thing with A-Train and
fuck, man. Yeah, the fact that A-Train got a heart transplant. They put Blue Hawk's fucking heart in
after he killed him.
After he killed him in one of the more brutal fucking ways by just dragging him on the concrete at Mach 2.
Yeah.
You know, fuck.
I'm amazed there was still a heart to be harvested.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it looked like it was more his head than anything that they dragged, but Jesus, you know, or the fact that they could have, you know, that it was in there, that it didn't, because you got like a half an hour.
Yeah.
You know, no, it's not half an hour, but it's like a few hours. Once you extract the heart, you have like 6 hours or 8 hours before it's no longer viable. And you're like, well, how long did A-Train lay there? You know, my guess is not that long. But I did appreciate the fact that in the Heroism episode, he and Huey had that moment. You know, where he's like, "You never apologized for Ryan. You never apologized." And he looks at him and he's like, "I'm sorry." And you could see like real pain. You could see real pain. He was genuinely sorry. He was like, it's all fucked up.
He had that talk with C.E. Bicho. That about, you know, how they covered up all the murders that he's done, all the killings he's done accidentally,
including Pop Claw, and you know, that wasn't even accidental. That was, he straight up murdered her.
Yeah,
and made it look like a drug overdose. I mean, yeah, all the things that they covered up for him and all the horrible shit that he's done. I mean, poor Supersonic and all these other things. And I think he's at that breaking point, man. I think his brother dying or not dying, but being paralyzed is one of those things that it's that breaking point for him. And then Huey just like, he can't deal with the fact he was expecting him to be an asshole about it, and he wasn't, you know, and so then he hits him and A-Train could feel it. You know, and he's, "How did you do that?" You know, he's like, so yeah. I mean, my guess, this is my prediction for the next 2 episodes, is that Butcher and Huey will have to take the permanent V, because if they don't, they're going to die. I think they're going to have to take Perm V, because that will heal them from the damage that they've taken.
That's going to go against everything Butcher stands for.
Yep. But like I said, in the comic books, and I've said this before, in the comic books, Butcher, they all have low-level superpowers. They all have low-level invulnerability and super strength. Like Butcher doses Huey like right away. He doses him, and MM has it naturally. And Kimio, I always pronounce it wrong. Is it Kimio? Kimiko, thank you. God, Kimiko also was born with the powers. But Frenchie, Huey, and Butcher took like a more minor version of Compound V, so that at the very least they could take a punch or two from some of these superheroes without dying immediately. And that just makes total sense to me. You know, why wouldn't they at least have some powers to combat? If you're the cops that police the cops, or I mean, you're the superhumans that police the superhumans, you better have a defense against it. Besides just, you know, normal human strength. Otherwise, you're dead.
Yeah.
So that's my
Yeah.
guess. Is that because we do see Kimiko take the V, and she does get her powers back, and she heals.
She heals up, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes for the rest of the season. Still enjoying it. This has been actually a fantastic season, I think.
Yeah, I hear they're going to get started with filming the next season soon.
Cool.
Because it was renewed for season 3 and 4 at the beginning of season 2. Like season 2 hadn't even aired yet, and they were like, "Yep, we're okaying 3 and 4."
I think we're halfway through, CD. I think there's 10 episodes.
2. No, there's 8.
Oh, is there only 8?
I believe there's only 8. There's
okay.
2 left. 7 and 8. I think I could be mistaken, but
I'm gonna double check real quick. Might be only 8 because I think the other ones might have been 8 as well. The episode. The next episode is episode 8. It says.
Is it? Yeah, we could be having the last one the next episode.
The current episode, which aired July 1st. Next one is there. Let's see. There are 8 episodes.
Yeah.
So this next one is the last episode.
Be prepared for a longer episode, I guess.
Keep seeing ads for the princess thing.
Oh yeah, on Hulu.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty badass actually.
Let's see. Yeah, it looks like there were only 8 in the first season too.
Yeah.
And second. So yeah, there's only 8 per season.
Yep.
So yeah, the next one is going to be the last one. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out. Yeah, I think a lot's going to happen. I think that's right. But all right, we should move on because there's still a couple of things I want to get to. We're coming up on the hour and a half mark. So, and I still want to get to I want to do 10 more of the TV shows.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to bring up real quick is I've been seeing a bunch of memes out there about how Stranger Things made D&D cool. I did finish watching Stranger Things. We'll get into it later once you've had a chance maybe to watch it because this season was fucking awesome.
It has also been revealed that there is a season 5 coming, and that they're going to start writing it soon.
Trust me, the way season 4 ends, there has to be a season 5.
Okay, because I was under the understanding that season 4 was the last one, but I guess I missed it.
I had heard that as well, but I'll tell you what, the way it ends, this can't be the end. They leave it so that there has to be a season 5, which I think is the last season that they're planning.
Yeah, no, they have said 5 dead last for sure.
But anyway, there've been a bunch of memes out there that have been like, Stranger Things has made D&D cool, and I've seen a bunch of other ones that take that and go, hold up. First of all, D&D's always been cool.
Absolutely.
But there were a lot of things that made D&D cool and introduced it to mainstream before Stranger Things. Critical Role being one of them.
Oh, absolutely. I'd say Critical Role is largely responsible for D&D, at least getting into the limelight again,
Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's out there. Stranger Things season 4, fucking fantastic though. I think season 3 was kind of meh. But season 4 more than makes up for it. I thought it was absolutely spectacular. Strange New Worlds, just real quick, still a great series. We'll talk more about it maybe next week. After you've caught up, Russ. I know you've already heard about the big things that have happened, but Strange New Worlds, still spectacular. Umbrella Academy, same thing. As you watch more episodes, I've watched 4 episodes so far. Fucking-tacular this season. It has been absolutely incredible. The way that they're that they're doing everything in there, and even the whole Vanya to Victor change, I thought was spectacular.
Yeah.
Because they handle most of it in 2, and then they do more in episode 3, because like Luther's gone for a while, and he comes back. He's like, "How long was I gone?
Right.
What else did I miss?" But yeah, it's been fantastic too. Renee and I didn't want to stop watching it last night, but she needed to go to bed, so we wound up doing it. But the other thing I wanted to bring up just before we get into your stuff was there's been discussion. I found this on the Nerdist, and I guess Disney just launched a new cruise ship, the Disney Wish.
Yes.
And one of the things that's on this ship is a Star Wars bar called the Hyperspace Lounge.
Yes.
One of the things that you could get at this bar is a $5,000 Star Wars cocktail.
Right. Holy shit. Can you imagine just the audacity? The audacity of a $5,000 fucking drink. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's one of those like those ultra rich things, those things that only the ultra rich will have. And it's just the, how dare you? How dare you?
So
$5,000 drink.
I guess
fuck you.
I guess from what I've seen in the video, the short video that they have, it looks like it's like 3 or 4 shots that you get for this $5,000, and it's served in a Camtano, which is the thing that they introduced. The first time I remember seeing it was in Book of Boba Fett. It's what they carried like the money in. Okay. The Pikes used as a bomb. That thing that opens up on the sides, and it like opens up and it's got all the stuff in there and lights and everything. But anyway, so this cocktail is called the Kyber Crystal.
Right.
And the guy from Nerdist that was talking about it said that he couldn't get any details about it. Nobody would tell him what's in it. Nobody would tell him, what it is, why it's all this. As a matter of fact, he even he interviewed a Walt Disney Imagineering representative and a bartender, and they wouldn't share any of the details about it. And he actually was asked if he'd heard about it from spies. But he wound up actually talking to another bartender who he said that all the bartenders on the ship are cross-trained so they can work at any of the bars. And he was actually able to get some more info on it. And one of the big things is that if you buy this cocktail, part of what's included with this is a trip to Skywalker Vineyards.
Okay. I mean, if you're paying $5,000 for a tureen of drink and a trip to Skywalker Ranch, then it's a lot more understandable.
Yeah. So, and basically, he was also able to find out that it includes the following: the galactic beverage is primarily made with Camus cognac. It also includes the Japanese citrus fruit yuzu, as well as kumquat. Apparently, ritzy cocktails can never have enough cognac because the Kyber Crystal also features Grand Marnier Quintessence, which is considerably pricier than Camus cognac. And speaking of pricey, the bartenders add shots of ultra-expensive Pappy Van Winkle's Family Reserve 23-year bourbon and Taylor's Fladgate Kingsman Edition Very Old Tawny Port. Now, I know a lot of people who are really into bourbon. I myself have never had any of the Pappy Van Winkle stuff, but I know that every year when it comes out, there's a fucking lottery to try and get a bottle.
Okay.
I have a friend in Kentucky who I think has 2 bottles from various years. And it's one of those drinks that if you get a bottle, You put it up on your shelf to display. You don't actually drink it except on super special occasions.
Right.
But guests ordering the Kyber Crystal also get a bottle of Skywalker Vineyards wine delivered to their room, plus they receive a trip to Skywalker Vineyards. We don't know how many people the trip covers. Skywalker Vineyard is located within George Lucas's Skywalker Ranch property in Marin County, California. We also don't yet know how booking the trip works. I also heard from the bartender that ordering the $5,000 Star Wars cocktail comes with a character moment with stormtroopers, but I haven't been able to verify that. So they've reached out to Disney to get details, and they've declined to answer anything.
Well, yeah. I'd be hesitant to name, to like name any kind of like details too, because it's still like just ridiculous $5,000, I mean, it's because even if you do get, a tour of Skywalker Ranch, you got to get there.
Well, it's
and you got to stay.
You don't even get to go to the ranch. You're going to the vineyards, which is on the same property as the ranch. They're not saying you get a tour of the ranch. You just get to visit the vineyards, which isn't open to the public.
All right.
But yeah, so I'm still not paying $5,000 for a fucking cocktail.
Exactly. That's some horse shit.
I mean, that's like 3 days at the Disney resort.
Yeah, I from what I understand, you can get some packages and stuff, and it's not quite that bad, but it ain't cheap to stay in Disney. It ain't cheap to stay in any of the Disney kind of things.
From what I heard, it's really expensive to stay at the Star Wars place, and you can only stay 2 nights.
Yeah.
If you want the full package, anyway.
I just want to go. Can I just go? I just want to go there. I want to experience it. My friend, like I said, Stella had to go and borrow a dress from a friend of ours, and so we were hanging out. I was hanging out with her 3-year-old daughter. We're chilling. She's showing me her BB-8. She had a BB-8, right, that they got at the Star Wars Experience in Florida, and it's the coolest fucking toy ever, Chris. What the actual fuck? It's like a real BB-8. It's got, I mean, the head is attached magnetically, and
dude, I think Pete's kids have it.
Yeah, and it rolls around, and it's like, and you can direct it, and it talks, and apparently it will if you're watching the movie and you're holding the BB-8 in the room, it'll react to the shit on the screen. And I mean, I think if you have certain things set or something like that. And then also if you're walking around holding it, or I think they have a carrier for it, if you're walking around with it at the park, it'll interact with the other fucking droids that other people are carrying around.
What I want to know is, does it have a lighter that comes out and goes?
It better. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm like, that's what I want. I ain't paying for a BB-8 that can't give me the thumbs up.
For reals, y'all. For reals.
All right, so let's talk about. Did you have anything you wanted to cover before you get into your movies?
Okay, a couple of quick things. Red Dead Online, the online version of Red Dead Redemption, is apparently dying. Fans have declared the game dead and are thus planning an in-game funeral for next week, as spotted by PCGN. Fan account Red Dead News shared an invitation for Red Dead Online's funeral to Twitter. The invitation asked guests to dress in appropriately grim attire on Wednesday, June 13th, to memorialize the online mode. Who's up for it then? A funeral to celebrate 1 year of Red Dead Online being abandoned. Dress up in your best funeral attire. Get your friends to join. Tag us in pics and use the hashtag below. Red Dead News asks attendees to snap pictures and share them in social channels and the hashtags Red Dead Funeral and Save Red Dead Online, the latter of which refers to a months-long campaign launched by Red Dead Online fans who see potential in the game but feel disappointed by the lack of new content. So basically, they feel that the studio just isn't providing new content, new stuff for the game.
Well, it's funny because I actually saw a thing earlier saying that the studio will not be doing any remakes of Red Dead or
GTA 4.
Yeah, because they're going to concentrate on GTA
6. Yeah, correct. That there was talk about remaking Red Dead Redemption, the original Red Dead Redemption, into the current systems, and now they have shelved that idea, as well as GTA 4. I think probably the underperformance of Vice City and stuff like that, of the remakes of those, have caused them to just go, let's just concentrate on the next games. Now, I did hear that they would be upgrading Red Dead Redemption 2, which was on the previous systems, they will be working on an updated version of Red Dead Redemption 2. So now Red Dead Redemption 2 was already an absolutely gorgeous game. I find it hard to believe that they're going to be able to make it even prettier, but who knows? Apparently they can. So there's that. Also, Batman is being framed coming up. We got some spoilers for the latest issue of Batman and Batman number 125. Big deal. Apparently, they're killing off the Penguin. The Penguin has been dying, or is currently, he finds out he's dying of mercury poisoning from eating too much raw tuna. And over the years, kid you not. And he is basically going to frame the Batman for killing him. He's going to chomp down on a cyanide pill, and it's going to, while Batman's in the room looking like he's like he killed him. So it's a hell of a kind of punch in the gut for the Penguin, but they're looking like some pretty cool. They're going to do some pretty cool stuff. They're doing some pretty wild stuff with DC Comics right now. Dark Crisis, the big miniseries that is just started, will have the second issue come out. If not this week, then possibly next week. I have to double check. But we're looking at some possible big deaths. We're looking at potentially some really there's already been several Titans characters have died. It's looking like maybe Nightwing might be taking the big sleep, according to Deathstroke. But you got to remember too that anything that happens in Dark Crisis is most probably not going to be long lasting. It'll probably be reversed, as the Justice League was killed in the first issue, or in the actually they were killed in the last issue of Justice League, which was like issue 125 or something like that. Was it 125? Doesn't matter. Big deal, big things. They're saying that this Dark Crisis is actually the true sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths from the mid 80s. So it's considering that there was Infinite Crisis Infinite Crisis and Final Crisis. It should be interesting to see where this falls in that range. So, I mean, whenever DC Comics has a big crisis event, it's going to be a big deal. So yeah, that was it. I figured we'd end up the show with with 10 more of the 100 greatest TV shows of all time.
39 to 30.
Yes. So 39, because we ended at 40, which was Community, which again, I will say was easily one of the best sitcoms I've ever watched. Fantastic show. Really recommend it. 39, we have Veep, which ran from 12 to 19. The Vice President of the United States has got to wield a decent amount of power, right? Well, actually, no, that's the genius of Veep. Its continued success lies in the single premise, highlighting the inane day-to-day responsibilities of Veep Selena Myers. From its opening scene, right, the series never fails to make the best of its ensemble cast. Yet the spotlight and kudos go to Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She's spectacular. I've always heard great things about that show.
I've never been a big fan of hers.
Take her or leave it. Number 38, from 97 to 03, one of the earlier shows on HBO to garner a lot of critical acclaim was Oz. The lives of the men locked up in an experimental high-security penitentiary wrap around each other as they try and do their time. An incredible cast, including J.K. Simmons and Chris Maloney and Harold Perrineau, turn career-defining work in a story that reaches Shakespearean levels of horror and humanity. I remember watching it in the mid 90s and just going, man, this is a fucking amazing show.
I never watched it.
It was a really good show. It was, and interestingly
I've never
enough,
been into prison dramas.
Well, it transcended that. It was more than that. It went into a lot of the backstories, a lot like Orange is the New Black, where it went into a lot of the backstories.
I didn't watch that either.
Okay. It goes into a lot of the backstories of these characters, of why they ended up in prison, where they came from, who they were, how they developed in prison. It's pretty wild. And J.K. Simmons, who's one of those actors that plays, a wide range of roles, played a horrible character in that show.
I haven't watched Sopranos either. CD.
You can check out Oz on HBO Max. Number 37, Sex in the City, which ran from 98 to 08. Honestly, never gave a shit about it. I mean, I think I watched a few episodes over the years, just going, what's this? What are they talking? What's the big deal? And I didn't hate it. I guess I could kind of understand what people saw in it, but it really just it didn't interest me in the least.
I have no interest in that one.
Number 36, we have Friday Night Lights, which ran from 06 to 11, which is all about a small town America and their passion and love of football. It's under the floodlights on a Friday night. That's the heart of the aptly named Friday Night Lights, which follows a group of troubled teens, their desperate parents, and the struggling teachers trying to teach them a few things in a Texan town where the end of the work week finds everyone flung together for the big game.
Yeah, never watched that one either.
Yeah. So, me neither. It was very much a kind of, almost a teen drama about football and how important high school football is to small towns in Texas and Florida. Number 35, you're gonna love this one. This show ran from 1987 to 1994. Can we guess which show it is? It's a show that you and I love a great deal, particularly me. 87 to 94, Star Trek: The Next Generation.
CD had it, STNG.
Yeah. Number 35. Now, I'd say that's pretty respectable for a Star Trek show. It's pretty respectable for any show, but for it to, hi, Dresden, for it to, I think we've got some more fireworks. I think he's getting kind of nervous. It says the world was expectant, if somewhat skeptical, when Gene Roddenberry and company jumped Star Trek 100 years forward in time and cast a bald Yorkshireman as the replacement for Captain Kirk. But while the first two seasons have their issues, Next Gen rapidly became a worthy successor to the 60s original. It's smart, exciting, and in the Borg and Q, it adds two new threats to the Trek universe. No wonder Picard got his own show a few decades later. Honestly, now, in the grand scheme of things, there arguably people will say that there were other Star Trek shows that ultimately were better than Next Gen.
Strange New Worlds.
I think Strange New Worlds is very good. Also, a lot of people feel that DS9 in its later seasons was superior storytelling and amazing Star Trek.
I will say that I enjoyed. I kind of lost interest in Deep Space Nine early on. I found the characters kind of dull and the stories kind of dull. But then once the Dominion War started, I actually got back into the show for like the last season, and I actually wanted to go back and watch it. Renee's actually watching Deep Space Nine right now.
Honestly, once Worf joined the show, just like kind of like when 7 and 9 joined Voyager, Worf was enough to turn the tide for, because I liked DS9, but I understood how what people's complaints were about it. But once Worf joined the show, the dynamic shifted, and they did a lot of other things, and it was
they tried getting people to come over by putting O'Brien on the show.
Yeah.
And then that didn't work. And they realized that part of the problem is that it was the first time they were doing a Star Trek show where they weren't actually traveling in space.
Correct.
So they gave them a ship and brought Worf on.
Right. It needed that.
And then that's when people started watching it again. Was once they got to Defiant and Worf came on.
People were still watching it, but I think you're right. It got a big boost once Worf had the ship.
They have a ship now, and it's the coolest ship in Starfleet.
The baddest little fucking fighter ship, or little ship for combat, And it's not a fighter; it's still a good ship, but it is a combat oriented ship. That's one thing I feel like Star Trek we needed more of is they needed small fighter ships. You know, you don't see that in the Federation as much. You know, they have their runabouts and they have their shuttles and they have
but they didn't have fighter ships. They
didn't have fighter ships. They didn't have single.
They had destroyers.
Right.
Exactly. And battle cruisers.
Yeah, exactly. So, whereas we see that in the Orville. The Orville they do have fighter ships.
So yeah, they just introduced one in the latest season.
Yep, they did. So, number 34 ran from 06 to 13. Saturday Night Live veteran Tina Fey writes what she knows in the surreal sitcom 30
Rock, which I just started trying to watch that, and I'm not finding it funny.
Now, I never really watched it, but I did hear that it is a hilarious show, but you kind of got to get into it. And it is basically about a show like SNL. I mean, they're just talking about
it's a spoof on Lorne Michaels and
SNL. Exactly.
SNL, yep.
So we have number 33, which ran from 97 to the present. Can you guess what show this could possibly be?
97 to the present?
97 to the present. It's animated.
I'm blanking.
South Park.
Oh, okay.
It's gross, it's offensive, and it's crudely made. Number 33 is South Park. These are all reasons why we continue to love South Park. In a world of conservative television, the potty-mouthed adventures of these eternal school kids are deliciously subversive. Some say it's puerile and dumb, and it often is, but there's a sneaky sense of decency that ensures the show is more than just a lot of swearing and wiener jokes. Those are good fun too.
I haven't watched that show in years.
Me neither. I haven't.
CD says it's still outstanding and highly relevant.
I would not be surprised at all. I mean, it's still a solid show from what.
Fuck you, Kyle.
I love the fact that it was the first. It had, it's had like these groundbreaking moments. It was the first show to use to use fuck. On primetime television, or not primetime, late night like television, but still, it was.
Well, dude, their entire movie was a dick joke. The bigger, longer uncut. It was all about how you could say fuck as many times as you want, but if you make any sort of sexualization of anything, you get an NC-17, because the whole thing with what was it, Orgasmo,
right? Got an
NC-17.
Right. And they even, the joke bigger, longer, and uncut is a dick joke. And the censors didn't even get it. They're like, they wanted to call it something. And they're like, no, you can't call it that. Or like, okay, how about South Park bigger, longer, and uncut? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. And they're like, all right, fine. I do.
The movie was great, CD.
It was really funny. I do appreciate the fact that that the creators of South Park have been consistently pushing the envelope. Whether it's in good taste or not, which it usually has not. They are consistently and constantly making people think,
and they don't care who you are. They will pick at you.
Yep. So number 32, another animated show that ran from 14 to 20. Now this is where things start to break down for me a little bit. That this show, although it's good, and I haven't finished watching the whole thing. I kind of watched the first couple seasons and I enjoyed it. But the fact that they put this show above Next Generation, BoJack Horseman. I
have not watched any of BoJack.
Yeah, it started as relatively typical TV fare. A protagonist plying himself with drugs, booze, and women to mildly humorous effect, quickly transformed into a show daring enough to comment on depression, dementia, asexuality, and so much more, and all under the guise of an animated show about a horse named BoJack Horseman. Raphael Bob Waxberg, the series has become one of Netflix's crowning jewels, and thank the streaming gods it was allowed to run for quite as long as it did. Now, it is a cool show. And I haven't finished watching it, but
TD's not a fan.
To put this show above Star Trek: The Next Generation, I don't know. Now, granted, I may be a little biased, but it's still. Number 31, comedy show ran from 03 to 06 and should have run longer, but it didn't because, honestly, the creator went, fuck you guys, I'm going home. The Chappelle Show. Few shows have made an impact over just 2 seasons. than Chappelle's show. Every sketch is as funny and memorable as the last, with Dave Chappelle's satirical, antagonistic bite and willingness to tackle taboo subjects making a lasting impact on the culture. His humorous takes on celebrities such as Rick James, Prince, and Sam Jackson were instantly
Rick
iconic
James, bitch.
and increasingly ripe for the internet age, receiving a new lease of life on life thanks to YouTube. There aren't many shows are as relevant, scandalous, or funny as Chappelle's show. Now, honestly, the Chappelle show was one of those shows that showed just how comedically genius Dave Chappelle is.
Mhm.
Chappelle is next level funny. I mean, he is one of those guys. There are a lot of people that would disagree with me, but he is, I mean, and he's come under fire a lot because of like his opinions about the trans movement, trans people, and things like that. Some of his opinions are considered, either hate speech or at the very least, just insensitive and stuff like that. But that doesn't change the fact that the guy is a comedic genius and is stunningly funny.
Renee never realized that he was in Men in Tights.
Yeah,
that he was.
He's Achu.
Achu, yeah.
Achu.
Son of a sneeze.
I'm
on the left side. I'm on the right side.
I'm on the right side.
I'm on the North Bank. I'm on the South Bank.
This ain't the old Mississippi. Some funny shit. Last one for the night. We got number 30. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty here, guys. These are some amazing shows. The top 30 shows of all time. There's gonna be some really great ones here. But number 30, we have Fargo, which ran from 14 to the present.
I have not watched an episode. I have never watched the movie.
I watched the movie. The movie was amazingly good. I have not watched the show, and I've heard so many good things about the show.
I have too, but I've heard that I have to watch the movie first.
Really? I don't know if that's the case. I can't tell you. But it says a small town businessman does something unspeakable, and the consequences affect a local cop, her father, and a charming hired killer. Initially slow, but immensely rewarding, Fargo, the first season based on the Coen brothers movie, is equal parts folksy charm and blood-soaked violence, intelligent scripting, and fantastic performances. From Allison Tolman as the heroic Maggie and Billy Bob Thornton as the terrifying Lord Malvo, make this as essential as the original movie. Season's 2 retro story is just as thrilling as is the third season, a wonderful anthology series. So it still is obviously printing something next to me. So that was number 30. The rest we will break up into some more for the future episodes.
Oh yeah, something real quick. I just saw an update. And I wanted to mention this earlier. Tomorrow, we get the trailer for Clerks 3.
Yes. Tomorrow, the trailer for Clerks 3. I am so looking forward to this.
They're they're too old for this shift.
They're too old for this shift.
Is what I've seen.
That's the tagline. Because they've released a couple of posters, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this. I love the Clerks films, and Kevin Smith is one of my favorite directors, even though he has had a few stinkers in the last couple of years.
One of my favorite writers.
He is one of my favorite writers. He's amazing. So I hope
he writes dialogue better than most people. Him, and while Joss Whedon may be a piece of shit, he writes fantastic dialogue.
He does. He absolutely does. So here's hoping that we see some really that we see an amazing, because honestly, Clerks 2 was a fantastic sequel.
It really was.
Great sequel to Clerks 1. It hit all the right points, it hit all the right notes. It was a fantastic film. So
well, and supposedly in Clerks 3, they've got everyone back.
Yeah, I heard that too. Everybody is back, and I'm super excited, man. I cannot wait. Looking forward to it. So we should wrap things up. I know it's getting late. Yep. We're at the almost 2 hour mark. Guys, thanks for joining us tonight and joining in the conversation. CD, of course, always great to have you. Thanks for Renee for joining in and keeping us on the straight and narrow. Particularly correcting Chris on his Irishness. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Guys, stay tuned.
I was drinking rum and cokes before we started, so.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Guys, this Friday on this channel at 7:30, we have our...
it all ended well.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, you go comfort your family.
Yeah, exactly. This Friday, this channel, 7:30, guys, Tavern Nights, come and see us play D&D. I will be back in all of my Palladian glory. Palladian? I don't know. Anyway.
Have your new pet? That Rich?
With my new pet and my white snake.
Those chibis that Rich did were actually kind of cute.
I gotta get a belt like Vex had with that turned into a snake. Yeah.
Maybe I'll throw that in there, but it's gonna be pure white.
It's gonna be pure white. Pure white snake. Also on opposite Mondays, we have our Tavern Talk show. We talk D&D specifically about the shit that went down in our game. But we also talk about Dungeons and Dragons on a larger scope, and it's a good time. Oh, excuse me.
Which we did. Which normally yesterday would have been when we did that, but because of being the 4th, we skipped.
Right. Guys, let's remember it being July 5th, and let's remember that the fight is not over about the political stuff that are going on in our country right now. Be sure to get out and vote this November. Coming up, we've got this is midterm elections. There's some really important elections. The Supreme Court has never been more conservative. It's 90 years since it's been this conservative.
Yeah, dude, they're trying to take us back to the 1800s with
they
the
really
shit they're
are.
doing. I mean,
and the only way we're going to be able to get around that stuff is by voting into law some of these things that the Supreme Court is trying to overturn, such as and have overturned, such as Roe v. Wade.
Well, and the only way to do that is to get Congress people in that are willing to do something about it.
Well, they are talking about that they're going to be that an abortion rights bill is going to be be presented in to Congress, or going to be put on the ballot.
Well, it's not going to be on the ballot. It's when they say that it's on the ballot, they mean that you need to elect people that are going to pass a law, because we need Congress to pass the law.
Right. So please get out there and vote and get active. And go to some protests, go to some marches, show people that that the vast over 69% of this country did not want Roe v. Wade to be overturned.
The Chief Justice, who's a conservative, didn't want it actually overturned.
No.
But yet he still voted for it.
Right. Because he's a fucking wuss. He's a wimp. That they are completely they're completely puppets of their overlord masters. Mm-hmm. So fuck them. Anyways,
I still think that they need to wear jackets that have all of their donors, like everyone they took money from, on it, like a sponsorship. Racers.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, thanks again for joining us, guys. Tell all your friends about us. We'd love to get up to up some more viewers, or some more followers. We're at 70. We'd love to get up to 100 by the end of the year. That would be really great. Tell all your friends about us. You can find us on all the places you can find quality podcasting. Guys, we are on the Google Play Store. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Radio.com, the Odyssey app, everything. All the places. Check us out. You can download and stream us at all those places, and at www.nerdswithalcoholshow.com. Chris, we do this every Tuesday night at 8:00. Chris puts up an episode on YouTube a couple days later.
Yeah, I'm actually 3 episodes behind. I realized I didn't.
Oh no!
So I'm 3 episodes of this behind, plus at least 1 episode of Tavern Talk and 1 episode of Tavern Nights that I still have to get up. So I got some work to do.
Terabad.
Dude, I've been busy.
Terabad.
But anyway, you can follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Twitter at Drinking Nerds, Instagram Drinking Nerds, and YouTube Drinking Nerds. Once I start putting stuff back up, but there's a bunch of old stuff that you can go back and watch. But yeah, so tell your friends about us. We like, subscribe. Thank you again, CD, for the 10 months subscription as of last month, or as of last week, I mean. Really appreciate that. And thank you to all of our other subscribers and followers out there, and everyone that comes out and just hangs out. Even if you don't talk in chat, know that we appreciate you being here. So I think that's gonna about do it.
That should do it.
So on that note,
until next time, Slancha.
That was a good one.
It's a good one.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.